Welcome to the Imagine Me podcast. Imagine me, imagine you, imagine us. I am Lily Price.
And I am Tyshaune Toney.
Imagine yourself in a space where women can laugh and learn to value themselves by creating a deeper relationship with the divine. Imagine yourself free. What do you imagine?
One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, 8, 9. Welcome to the Imagine Me podcast. I am Lily Price.
And I'm Tyshaune Toney.
What's up, Ty?
Oh, nothing.
Ty got that red hair. Listen, I got a hat on. And you walking around here just the way you should be. Red hair, don't care. Red hair, don't care.
That's how I'm feeling.
I bet.
I never thought I would do red hair, but I did.
Where did this come from?
I just know I like to color ginger a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you know what?
Ooh, ginger.
I was like, I'm going to try. I was a little
Do you
scared.
like your men ginger, Ty?
I mean, it depends. If they come along, okay, yeah. I don't
Right.
mind a ginger man.
I've heard that women tend to be attracted to men with ginger. Mm-hmm. It's not like my preference, but I was working out one time years ago, and I was like, "Ooh, he's cute. He was ginger." So, but yeah, I love it. Looks cute.
Thanks.
I'm jealous
Why?
because I'm always
Your
jealous.
color looks so nice on your hair.
My color looks so nice on my hair.
Yes.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
It does.
When we started the podcast, I had black hair.
Mm-hmm.
Now I have blonde. What is it? Blonde streak? Is that what it is? I'm
think
not
it's
good
or
with
honey
all of
blonde
this
or something
stuff.
like that.
Yeah, it's like it's something. It's something going on under this hat. You know what I mean? So me and Ty just got off work, so we're exhausted. So for those of you listening that just got off work, come on, bring it on, wake up with us. So I'm loving the red hair because it's red hair, don't care, and it was time to move on and let go of what you did have, right?
Yes.
So it was like stepping into something new, right? And how hard is that?
It's difficult and it's scary
Yeah.
in many ways.
Yeah.
Many ways.
Because there was a transition period, right?
It was.
When you were blonde.
Yes.
Because you have
On the
natural,
tips.
right? You have naturally black hair.
Mm-hmm.
So in order for you to have red, you had to go through that transition period.
Mm-hmm.
And now here you are,
Yes.
blooming.
Oh,
You look wonderful. You're blooming for another reason, but I'm not going to put you on blast if you just came back from a cruise. We'll talk about that another time. But I do love the conversation of your hair and how it correlates with our conversation today. Stepping into the new, and when is it time to let go and say goodbye, right? And how do you identify when it's time to let go and say goodbye? So how did you know it was time to let go and say goodbye to that black hair?
When I didn't want to be afraid to step out of my comfort zone anymore.
Yeah, yeah. I think there's these times in our lives that seem scary.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get that feeling like, oh my gosh, is this right? Do I need to leave?
Mm-hmm.
Do I need to go? That's that time where you have to make a decision. What's your next, what is it? I don't know, step
Like
in
step?
life is.
Yeah.
Yeah, like what's your next level? I want to say level. Because I always feel like when you let go of something, you're going to level up. It might seem like you're not leveling up. Like when you were blonde, you was probably like, ugh.
I was. When
You know
I saw
what I mean?
that,
Because you get scared. You're like, oh, I don't know about this blonde. Maybe I shouldn't have did this. But then that red start popping, you know? And I think that's how it is, like when we decide to let go of something. But when do we know when it's time? And so that's what we want to talk about today. One, I want to give a shout out to our listeners, our viewers, because you guys have been listening. We're getting good feedback from people. And I'm going to be honest with you. I look at my views. I want to know who's watching me, okay? Because I want to make sure y'all like it. But continue to listen because I think even today this conversation is huge. If you're a person who's going through something right now where you're feeling like, I don't know if I need to be at that job anymore. I don't even know if I need to live in this city anymore, right? Like whatever city you're in, whatever place you're in, sometimes it's time for you to go, you know? Relationships, oh my gosh. Are you in a relationship? Who's listening right now in the name of Jesus? Hallelujah. Isn't that what they do? Right now. I'm talking to you right now. But seriously, who's listening right now that's in a relationship that you just know you're supposed to be out of, but you won't leave because you're
Afraid.
and
Insecure.
comfortable.
Yeah. Comfortable.
I like those other ones though too. Like you're afraid, you're insecure. Ty, you're doing some new stuff. You've been doing a lot of stuff, especially like these last few months. I'm like, who are you? I told her today, I'm like, she's so busy. I'm like, I haven't talked to you.
I know.
What got you to that place?
Well, I just want to do something I've never done before.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like where I'm at right now. I'm in a place of, let's try this.
So let me ask you another question, because I like what you just said. Like, I'm in a place where I want to do some stuff that I've never done before. What got you to that place to where you even recognize, like, man, I want to do something different?
Oh, because I feel like everything was the same. Like it was repetitive. And I'm just like, okay, what can I do or where can I go that's new?
Yeah.
Or that I just never thought I would ever do it.
Yeah.
For example, a cruise. I just
This
went
girl,
on.
she made me so mad too.
I did.
I'm
So
come back
sorry.
with that
I'm
red
so
hair
sorry.
and tan.
But yeah, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm going on this cruise. I've always wanted to. I just never had the guts to be like, okay, I'm planning this trip, going on this cruise. I'm going without my kids.
Right.
This is what I'm doing. And that's it. Like I never, because at first I'm like, oh, I probably need to take them with me. And it's going to cost X, Y, and Z to take all of us there. Then I get food and blah, blah, blah. And now that I went, I'm like, actually, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Like, I would want to take my kids on a cruise because I'm like, I know what to expect.
Yeah.
So I think just getting to this place, I want more now.
Yeah.
I don't want to just stay in one spot and just be like, okay, well, I can't do that. So
Yeah.
that's even with my hair color. I got it. I was like,
No.
if I don't do it, I'm never going to do it.
Yeah.
So
Me too.
I did do it and I colored it, but the blonde, I saw the blonde, I was like, oh no, this is not going to be okay.
Yeah.
But when she did, the other colors in it, I was like, oh, okay. Oh, I do like it.
It looks beautiful.
But I mean, it is scary to change. It is very scary to do something different, to step out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
It was hard for me to do that for a long time. So I do understand how difficult it can be.
Yeah.
For me, it's just, I was just tired of the same stuff. And I felt like I wasn't doing enough for me.
Yeah.
I can't say I wasn't doing nothing. I wasn't doing enough for me.
Yeah.
And I feel like if I do more for me, then I can do more for the people that I love.
Yeah.
Because I'll feel happier and I'll appreciate where I am and what I have done and what I haven't done. But I can still make a plan to do what I want to do.
Yeah, that's true. It's interesting. And I want to throw this out real quick. Nothing against people that work in an office or go to an everyday job, because you're going to an everyday office job helps the rest of society function. But I am going to say this. I spent most of my adult years working in an office type job. I mean, I did case management and stuff like that, but I went to the same job every day. And then probably the last, 7 years I was sitting at a desk, and working and working and working. And I did feel like what I was doing meant something at that time when I took on that position. Like I felt like it was something where I felt like I was making an impact, So I did feel, empowered, like I'm in this position. But there was definitely a time, I'll never forget the moment. And if I go into too much detail, I might start speaking in tongues to all the listeners. But there was a moment where I was listening to a pastor preach, and I was just doing my work at my desk, and I was listening to this pastor preach. And I remember saying, like, what he's preaching about really doesn't apply to me. But I'm just going to keep it on because whatever, I'm working anyway. I'm just going to have it going while I'm working. Long story short, I ended up speaking in tongues and hollering in my office. And the Lord was like, it's time for you to go. And I was like, oh my gosh, what I thought was not for me was absolutely for me. And as the preacher was preaching, he showed a cocoon, caterpillar and all that. But then he showed the butterfly.
Mm-hmm.
And that stuck out to me. And it just stayed in my spirit. And that day, moving forward, I could not get it out of my spirit that I was not supposed to be at this place. I even tried to fake it that I was supposed to stay there. And I was like, oh, maybe it just means this room. Like, I'm supposed to move to another position. So I applied for another position in my job. I got it. I had like this beautiful office, everything. And I'm like, I was even more miserable. I remember calling my husband like, babe, I can't take it anymore. He was like, just go in there and tell him you're gone. Because I couldn't take it. It was just like this feeling. And I'm saying that to say, I stepped out. Me and my husband started a business, X, Y, and Z. We're here. It's a blessing. It's the best decision that I've ever made for myself, for my kids, even for my husband. But the other day I was driving in to work and I could see people holding their luggage or whatever, like they're not their luggage, but you know, lunch boxes, all that kind of stuff. And they were like following each other going into the building. And I had this feeling like I used to do that. Nothing against people that go to work every day. But if there's something in your spirit that's saying it's time to go, don't ignore it. Because the feeling that I had was, I remember doing that every day. And at one point in my life, it was where I needed to be. You know what I mean? Because those positions put me in the position that I'm in now. But when it's time to go, it's time to go. And so for our listeners out there, how can you identify when it's time to go? And I think me and Ty want to talk about that today. Like, I want you guys to understand that there is a time in life where you just need to leave and let something go. And Ty, I like how you said this comfortable thing. We live in a small city. It's real comfortable here in Canton, Ohio. It's real comfortable. You know what I mean? Everybody kind of know each other. You know, everybody kind of hangs out in the same little spots. If you ain't ever been to the restaurant, you will be in the next year. Because that's, you know, how small it is. It's comfortable. You know, Lucas coming out with Lucas Live Media that's a big deal. Because people aren't doing that around here. Like, people aren't stepping out like that, right? Because Canton is a comfortable place. So even when it comes to your city, even when it comes to your neighborhood, being able to step out and step out of your comfort zone in order to step out into something new. So you can have red hair like Ty. Relationships. We were talking about this earlier. Like, what are the red flags? When do you identify that it's time to leave a relationship? And so I am going to throw this out here again before Ty speaks. Yes, this is imagine me. Imagine me, imagine you, imagine us as women learning how to love ourselves and value ourselves. Okay, so you can step into your purpose. And so now I'm going to ask you again, how do you identify red flags and when it's time to leave a relationship?
That's difficult.
It is.
You have to be ready to leave the relationship.
Yeah.
Being comfortable
Yeah.
makes it really, really hard. And I'm only saying that from my own experience. I feel like in my relationship, there was probably times I was supposed to leave, but I just didn't because I was afraid.
Yeah.
Or I was insecure and I felt like, I can't do this by myself. If I leave, I'm just going to go through this. I got to do this. I got to do that. Like, I was terrified. I was terrified.
Yeah. Can I interject? We had a lot of conversations during that time. And I would hear some stuff, but I wanted you to stay. Like, ultimately, I wanted you to stay because that was your husband, right? And I was like, I value marriage, and you value marriage. I was like, you know, can you work this out? Like, but it was just something that you were feeling like all the time. It was just something that I felt like sometimes when you were talking, it was like, it just didn't feel right. And I could always connect with you on that because I used to feel that way in past relationships. You know what I mean? Like, no matter what you did, no matter what you try, or even that person try, it just wouldn't work. You know what I mean? And so how do you really get to a place where you're like, okay, especially in marriage and the relationships where you live with somebody and you're like sharing bills and sharing children, sharing a home, sharing these different things. I heard somebody talking the other day. When you leave a relationship, like a long-term relationship, there's these, what is it? It's a process. It's not like you're just going to break up. Like, you might call each other a couple more times. You might talk about it a couple more times. You might argue a few more times. Like, it's a process of breaking up. Like, breaking up isn't just clean.
No.
But how do you know that it's final, you know? And how do you know that it's best? And I think, you know, for us, we're so emotional that we feel like, sometimes we feel like we're there to save the person. I do have regrets, though. I know I shouldn't have regrets, but there's a lot of women out there, and I hope I'm not taking this topic somewhere else. So tell me if I'm flying off. There's a lot of women out there right now that you're taking your time, and you're taking too much time. I was blessed enough to leave a relationship that was very unhealthy and very toxic, that I really didn't want to be in for years. There was at least 3 years that I was like, I really don't want to be with this person, but I'm here because of my kids. And so for years I was in that situation, and I wouldn't leave because I was comfortable. I was comfortable with my kids. I was comfortable with the situation. I was comfortable with the arguments. It was just comfortable for me. So there's women right now that are listening that are comfortable, and I'm telling you to get uncomfortable. And I never tell people to leave a relationship. Even when you and I talked, I don't think I ever was like, you need to leave. What I would say is you need to put
God first.
God first.
Yeah.
If you put God first, that means that God is going to show you what you need. See, that's the unselfishness of God, which makes him so perfect, is that when we love him so much and we put him first, because he is jealous, he wants all of our attention, but he's so loving that when we give it all to him, he gives it right back to us. And he's like, look, this is what you need. While you loving on me, I'm loving on you, and I'm showing you what you need and what your value is. So for that woman that's listening right now, put God first.
And I believe that's the only way you can do it, to know for sure. Just listen to you say that, because if you don't get yourself out when he tells you to, he gonna get you out. Whatever way you like or not, do not like. I can't even talk straight today.
It's okay. It's because you know why she can't talk straight? Because she was on a cruise. She got her hair all done. All this stuff. Like, she came back with a 10. She's not here. She's still on the cruise.
I am swaying over here a little bit in my head.
Right.
I'm swaying.
It's all right.
I figured I was going with this.
You were just talking about how you have to put God first.
Oh, yes. I do feel like when you put God first and allow him to move in your life, and you're actually listening, you can hear him. Because for a long time, I didn't feel like I could. Because I'm like, but I wasn't doing anything to listen or hear him anyway. I just, I was one of the ones that wanted God to be like, this is what I'm saying to you. Like, I had to see it written on something that he said this to me. I think he's the only way you will know. Because if everything is free flowing, when you decide, okay, I'm done, whether it's work, relationship, if a job, like a certain part of a job, or, once you decide that and you have him in your life helping, that he will make everything go so smooth. You probably be so scared. Yeah. Like, all this stuff is going to happen. Oh no, my boss is going to be mad if I do this. But then you talk to your boss and you're like, oh, really going to miss you. We understand, you know, and you're like, oh, I wasn't expecting that to happen. So I do. Yeah, God plays a huge role in that.
I felt so much relief when I walked in that office and told her I wasn't coming back. I walked out and was like, whew, all right. I've been holding on to that for 4 months because it was a 4-month transition. When I was single again, I was like, whoo, I'm out here. No, but I will say this, though. The same way there's a God, there's an enemy, and there's an adversary.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's that blonde transition that Ty went through with her hair that does kind of happen. When I left my job, I was feeling good. And then it was like attack.
Mm-hmm.
And there was months where I was like, I'm trying this, I'm trying that. It's not working.
Mm-hmm.
Did I make a mistake? Do I need to do this? I started looking for regular jobs again. And I would get these interviews, and then I would do what people do to me and not show up. Because I would go back and forth like, okay, God doesn't want me to interview. He put in my spirit that I'm going to be an entrepreneur. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was trying to go back. And the same thing happened with the relationship that I left. Because I was out here, and we talked about in our previous episode value and how do men value us. And I started to see that, like, I had pictured myself as a wife, and a lot of these men, I was just another chick on their roster.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, not Lily. That's not what she does, right?
Yeah.
But it also made me feel some kind of way. And I was like, okay, this isn't working out. Like, should I have left? You know, should I go back to that relationship? Because what you're looking for isn't out there. So you start to look backwards. So I do think that when you step out, it's not going to be all, you know, Skittles and rainbows as soon as you step out. There are going to be challenges. The key is to stick with it. You know, you got to hold on to the promise that God puts in your spirit. You have to. And then that gets you through. And then you have your red hair. I just been talking about your scalp all this whole time. But it's the only thing I can relate to. You know what I mean? But it's true. Like, and now here you are. You're going on cruises. You're dyeing your hair. You look gorgeous. You're dating. And you're getting to choose who deserves you. Right? And this isn't to put any person down. Like, instead of settling for what doesn't work for you, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes we settle because we're so comfortable. Like the generational curse of my mom lives in the projects, so now I'm living in the projects, and my kids are going to live in the projects because now this is what we do. But somebody has to break the curse, right? And this is not a blow to anybody who lives in the projects. I was born in the projects, but I don't live there no more, and my kids won't. You see what I'm saying? So it's about thinking differently and stepping out of the comfort zone. Are you ready to think a different way? Are you ready to do something new? What's holding you back from doing that? You know? And I do think that sometimes in order for people to come out of the comfort zone, you do have to have that tough, hard conversation.
I say do one thing for yourself at a time.
Yeah.
So like for me, I started off with, I was getting my nails done. Then someone was like, oh, you know what? Have you ever had a facial? I'm like, no. I'll try to do a facial. Best thing I ever did in my life.
Yeah.
Get a facial. Then I was doing it every month. I would swap out my nails and facial every month. Started getting my lashes done. So now I'm going to have my lashes done. And then if I want to do something extra, which is a facial or body massage or something, I'll do that.
Tyshaune introduced me to a masseuse, and I'm never changing. Go ahead.
She's amazing.
She's amazing.
But like just doing something, like one or two things a month at least. That's how I started off.
Yeah.
I would take myself to dinner sometimes. Like when I didn't have my children, I would go to dinner by myself. And it was nice. Like the first time I did it, I was like, okay, this is really strange. People are probably staring at me like, this girl at dinner by herself. Like that's how I felt. They don't care about you being at dinner by themselves. And half of them be like, I hope I can do that one day.
Yeah.
Because it is kind of hard to do when you first start doing it. Yeah. But it's a lot of older people.
Cut my steak like
It's a lot of actually older people that say that.
Yeah.
They be like, man, I wish when I was younger I did that for myself.
Because it shows confidence. You know, it does. I think there's more to this conversation. I think every time we get ready to close, there's like we're going to talk about the layers. It's like an onion. You just keep peeling the onion. But it's true. There's layers to it. I do believe that it's a process. You have to identify if you're unhappy, what's making you unhappy. Is it the person? Is it the place? Is it the city? Is it your habits? You know what I mean? Because sometimes it's us. You know, what is it that we need to change in order to step out of our comfort zone? So for our listeners out there, imagine me, imagine you, imagine us stepping out of our comfort zone, thinking a different way, being completely uncomfortable, and learning how to step into the purpose that God has for you. But the only way that you can do that is by letting go and knowing when to let go. And you won't know how to do that unless you seek God and trust him first. We out.
Yeah.